Good afternoon, viewers, listeners, or watchers. This is Teacher John again, and welcome back. So, our topic this afternoon is about the properties of inequalities. So, our objectives, of course, to identify the different properties of inequalities and to illustrate the properties of inequalities through examples. So without further ado, let's start. The first property we have the transitive property of inequality. Here we let A, B, and C represent real numbers. And in this property, it states that if A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then A is greater than C. Let's take some examples. Here, we let A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 1. To check if A is greater than B, so 5 is greater than 3, true, and B is greater than C, so 3 is greater than 1, true. So, A is greater than C, 5 is greater than 1, true. Next, we have the addition property of inequality. Still, we let A, B, and C represent real numbers. In this property, it states that if A is greater than B, then A plus C is greater than B plus C. Let's check through examples. Okay, same. We let A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, C is equal to 1. A is greater than B, so 5 is greater than 3, true. Then A plus C, 5 plus 1, is greater than B plus C, 3 plus 1, true. Next, we have the third property of inequality, subtraction property. And this is somewhat the same with the addition property of inequality. If A is greater than B, then A minus C is greater than B minus C. So, for example, we have A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 1. So, A is greater than B, so 5 is greater than 3. So, 5 minus 1 is greater than 3 minus 1. So, 4 is greater than 2. True. Next, the fourth property we have the multiplication property of inequality. Here, it states that if A is greater than B and C is greater than 0, then A times C is greater than B times C. In other words, if A is less than B and C is less than 0, then A times C is less than B times C. So, for example, we let A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 6. To check, A is greater than B, so 5 is greater than 3, true, and C is greater than 0, so C is equal to 6, true. Then, 5 times 6 is greater than 3 times 6. 30 is greater than 18. True. And by the way, for the fourth property or the multiplication property of inequality, when you multiply both sides of inequalities by a negative number, you need to reverse the inequality symbol to make the statement correct. That's it. And of course, if there is multiplication, there is also division property of inequality. Here, we let A, B, C represent real numbers. Same. And it states that if A is greater than B and C is greater than 0, then A divided by C is greater than B divided by C. In other words, if A is less than B and C is less than 0, then A divided by C is less than B divided by C. For example, A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 6. 5 is greater than 3. True. So 5 divided by 6 is greater than 3 divided by 6. True. And take note again, same with the multiplication property of inequality. If you divide both sides of inequality with a negative number, you need to reverse its inequality symbol to remain the statement correct. Now we are in the sixth property, or I think this is the last property of inequality. We have the comparison property of inequality. And here it states that if A is equal to B plus C and C is equal to 0, then A is greater than B. Again, if A is equal to B plus C and C is greater than 0, then A is greater than B. Let's have an example. Here we have A is equal to 6, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to 2. So A is equal to 6, so 6 is equal to 4 plus 2, correct? So 6 is greater than 4, true. And that's how easy the properties of inequalities are. And again, this is Teacher John leaving you with this quote. It's always impossible until it is done. Thank you for listening, watching, or thank you very much. See you next time.